Okay, we're back at Coach's Corner today, and look, this is a real good episode because I got a lot of history with this young man, and he is another local Danbury fighter. So putting Danbury on the map. We got a lot of great fighters out here, and I'm not going to go through all the names. I'm Coach Dave. Welcome back to Coach's Corner. Come on. But my guest right now is César Collado, part owner of Legends Barbershop in Danbury, professional fighter. Want to know. Welcome to Coach's Corner, César.
Thank you for having me. Beautiful setup.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on. I know it's a busy weekend for you to be out here, and but César Collado is a very interesting story here. And a lot of people know a lot of the mainstream fighters here, but César has actually been one of the original Danbury guys fighting out of the Harambe Center back in the day. I met him over there with Bill Curtis way back in the day as a young man, and things kind of changed in our lives, and you went your way, I went my way, and then obviously Champs opened up, and different things there happened. But César's been boxing with everybody over there, comes and spars with us, and recently in the last year won his first professional fight, and we'll kind of get into that a little bit as we get into the show here a little bit. But you've been at this a while now.
Long time. Love it though. It's one of those things where it's just like there's guys that there's just weekend basketball players where they just been playing on the playground for 20, 30 years, and that's how I look at it. It's just I love boxing. It's just what I like to do, and it's just something that keeps you going.
Now you're an athlete. I know you play basketball, you play baseball. What brought you to the box? I ask this everybody.
Yeah.
And it's the standard question.
It's good though.
It's the standard question.
It's what makes the show.
Because boxing is something that we just don't wake up. Everybody wants to play baseball, basketball, football. Kids, whatever it is, soccer, lacrosse.
It's a crazy sport.
The percentage of kids today and male and female getting up and saying, "Hey, mom and dad, I want to box."
Very low. It's not common.
Yeah, and then to keep it going.
Yeah.
Maybe to go try it, take a class and everything, but to keep it going is
Usually, what is it? Once you get like your nose broken or something happens, you're like, maybe this isn't for me.
The first part of pain.
Yeah.
The first part of pain. But what was it for you? Because you've been at this
long time,
since you're like 15, 16 years old when I met you.
Yeah. I joke around where it actually started a little bit before that, but knowing that I was going to kind of come on the podcast, and I've been asked before, you kind of do a little reflection going, till the day where you're going to sit down and talk about it. But to be honest, it kind of goes back to is more of a personality thing, I guess, kind of maybe your upbringing. Like I come from a big family, so you're kind of always around cousins. I have brothers, so kind of like boys will be boys, and just you always kind of grow up wrestling and fighting with the other cousins. Typical fun stuff growing up. But it's just I come from a family where we always watching boxing, the upcoming fights on the weekends. It was always something just enjoyed. And when I found out the Harambe Center that they actually had boxing, it was actually kind of an accident, really, where you just kind of stumbled into it.
It was an unknown gem over there.
You
had to know Bill Curtis.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to Bill.
R.I.P.
Original founder of boxing. Great individual, and the Harambe Center, which is still there today.
Still there. Nothing's changed.
Still got that same ring, right?
Yeah.
And no disrespect to anybody else, I always felt that the Harambe Center should have been the original Danbury boxing gym.
Should have been, because everybody that was actually like that fought, that was into that's where you went, because luckily now we have gyms now like in Champs Boxing. Very grateful to have Champs, have you there, Benny, Senior, his kids, AJ, of course. But back in the day, we just had Harambe Center.
Yeah, and I mean, but for people who don't know about the Harambe Center, the old armory across from City Hall.
The Armory, yeah.
Yeah. So like if you went, I remember the first day going over there with Senior, and it just had that feel. You walked in through the gym, you walked in the back, went downstairs.
Yep.
There was the ring, the bags. That was just.
I still remember my first day.
That was a boxing gym.
Yeah.
Like that had all the feel. It just it had no funding at the time, and Bill did a great job trying to get stuff. Whatever the situation was, I don't know. There was so many people I remember trying to help with the ring and bags and whatever, but that was really the feel. You were down in the back in the basement almost.
I still remember when you making the walk up those like long brick stairs.
Yeah.
And then you got to walk by everyone in order to go to the gym and then to go to the boxing area. And, when you're carrying your stuff and everybody's there playing basketball or playing pool or just hanging out, and they all see you going to the gym, you get that feeling. It was like, oh, that's a boxer. That guy's, So,
yeah, who is that? Who's going in there?
And, who's this guy? What are they going to do down there?
Yeah.
And then, you kind of just get, that feeling of being kind of like separated amongst the crowd is kind of, you kind of go through that when that little walk to actually go to the gym. I still remember that.
Yeah, no, it was a unique place. It was a starting point for, you.
Yeah.
Obviously the Feliz brothers, Omar Bordoy. Started out of there.
Yeah.
Many others, but those are the guys that I know and that I've worked with and been privileged to be around in the sport of boxing. So after that, how are you keeping the love of boxing going? Because it was not.
It's not easy.
It wasn't consistent there.
No, that's why I love Champ so much. Is yes, the gym, the Harambe Center was there if you wanted to be there, if you wanted to work out, if you wanted to just box, if you want, is what we had. But there was always that thing of who's in the gym training with you. Are there like high level people coming in? What kind of trainers are there? So that's why I appreciate Champ so much, because it's such a specialized.
Yeah, so we're definitely different. I mean, look, the Harambe Center was great for the kids.
It was great.
You had kids that had a place to go.
Yep.
Play basketball, pool, box.
There was a lot of us. We stayed at, it was just a place for us to kind of stay out of trouble. And,
weren't on the street.
Yeah.
And it was obviously, for the people who don't know Bill Curtis or never met him, what a great, I had the privilege of meeting him and being around him.
Mm-hmm.
And what a, unique individual. And, boxing, not only boxing enthusiast, he gave a shit about the kids.
He did.
He knew everybody by name, Bill wasn't a big man, but you know what? He spoke like a big man.
He demanded respect.
Yeah,
when he walked
did.
in, you knew. It was like, oh, this guy, this guy didn't play around. When he spoke to you, it was like, oh, it's for a reason.
Yes, 100%. Definitely one of Danbury's, finest as far as, building the fight game here in Danbury. So there's many levels of the fight game here in Danbury. Everybody sees the pros, and shout out to everybody who has come through. Glover, Alex, Finelli Sr., Delvin, Omar Bordoy, you now. I mean, Jeffrey Thain. I mean, Danbury has had.
It feels good being part of that list. I'm not gonna lie.
You know what? It's for a smaller city. We've had a lot of success with fighters.
We have. It's true.
And it's just growing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now we got Ali Feliz. He's obviously on his fast track.
Mm-hmm.
We have other fighters coming here that are calling Danbury their home.
Yep. It's crazy being able to kind of see how it all started from the beginning, especially watching like the Feliz brothers grow up and just watching how it all plays out. It's
we watched it. We watched it start.
Beautiful thing, actually,
and like you said, it didn't start in the shout out to AJ Galante and Champs, because we have a premier facility to train in now.
Yeah.
But it didn't start like that.
Did not. I still remember. Yeah.
You know, we were all, you know,
leaky pipes.
Yeah,
and,
we were
still
scrambling for places to.
But it was better.
Yeah.
Even that, it was just better from what we had. I still, you know, you still appreciate what the Harambe Center is and was, but even in those leaky times, it was just, oh wow, you could see where the road was going and how things were, like the potential of where it could be and where it could go.
Well, I think as a fighter, you can't train in the Taj Mahal all the time. I think you got to have humble beginnings. And I never was I wasn't living in Connecticut at the time when Hat City was around. They were already out by the time. And I've heard great things about Hat City, and not to take away from them either. But you know what? I think as a fighter, you know, we're spoiled the champs.
We are.
You know, we have everything we need over there. Thank God.
Yeah.
You know, it's great. But I think some of the fighters, and you could attest to this, and I can, you have to see different things. You have to be humbled and know that, like, okay, the bag's ripped. We're taping that bag up today.
Yeah.
You know what? Whatever it is, the gloves, or whatever, the shoes, we're going to find a way to make it work till we can get a new one. And I think that's part of your growth as a fighter.
It is, because it's like you said, it's a fight game. And if you think that everything you do has to be in a comfortable setting, you know, you're going to be in a rude awakening once you get uncomfortable. And that's usually where you kind of see who's about it, who's made for it, is how you perform when you're uncomfortable. And if you're constantly, you know, saying, oh, if we had this better, if we had that better. Sometimes I laugh at the guys at the gym, or I don't really say stuff, but it's like, sometimes I'm just like, you don't know how good you have it. Because I still remember being in the Harambe Center. They didn't have insulation. I just remember training with a hoodie on, because
it was cold. It was cold there.
If you didn't train with a hoodie on, you weren't going to break a sweat.
No, it was cold there. Forget about it. You're training in the wintertime over there. You're freezing your ass off down there. So you better be working. You better be jumping work. But you better not be worrying about, because if you're standing still.
If you're standing still, you're going to.
You know, and then look,
freeze up.
The ring wasn't the greatest ring over there.
But we made it work. We made it work because we wanted to box. So it's what we had.
And it built stuff. Look, I've trained in many different places, in storefronts and boiler rooms in New York City, in apartment buildings, and you know what? It's the people around you that make it.
It's the people in the gym that makes it count.
Yeah, that's what makes it. You know what I mean? You could have the fanciest gym in the world, and you know what? Not the right combination of people, not the right coaching in there, and it's not going to really. Yeah, it's not really going to benefit.
The beautiful thing is that that's one of the beautiful things about boxing is, no matter what, you're going to get exposed. And if you come in that mindset where everything has to be comfortable, it's just going to show. You know, the type of training you went through, the type of preparation you did, all that's going to show. And if, you know, most fighters are worried about little, you know, simple comforts, leisures and stuff, it's not.
Boxing is not a sport. You got to be uncomfortable. That's the way I learned it. And you know what? There might be people who disagree about it. And that's fine, but you know what? I kind of go by, if I'm preparing a fighter, you're going to be a little bit uncomfortable. I'm sorry. Because once, you know, comfort's like anything else. Once you get comfortable with something, you start to get lax, you accept certain things, and you know what? That's where bad habits start to form, and it's
What's
not...
that saying? You learn how to lose? You know, you kind of, you'll be seeking more, you'll be looking to... like find easier ways out once you kind of get used to the comfortability. When you're used to being uncomfortable, you know, you kind of learn to live in the fire in a way.
Yeah, well, you got to fight.
You.
Being uncomfortable, you got to fight your way out. You got one or two things. And, you know, like you just said, boxing's going to expose you. You know what? And some come through the fire, some get burnt up in the fire, some don't make it through the fire, whatever, you know, it is that your DNA, and we've seen it with many different fighters. Don't make them bad people.
It's just not for you.
Some are dogs and some aren't.
Yeah, it's just not for you, you know?
You know, and
not everybody's meant to play football. Not everybody's meant to play this.
Yeah, but I think you know what? It's a little different.
Oh, it's different for sure.
You know what? You can sit in the yard and throw the football to your brother and say, I played football.
Yeah.
All right? You don't sit in the yard and punch each other in the face and say, I box.
Yeah.
You know? That's a little different there. Have somebody pitch a baseball to you, go play basketball.
Yeah.
You know, you come back and you're okay after that. You know what I mean? You don't pick up your 4 friends and say, yeah, we're going to go to the ring today and play boxing.
Yeah, what are you, crazy? What are you?
Doesn't go like that. But anyway, okay, so, let's fast forward a little bit.
Yeah.
From the Harambe Center now, time passes, Champs opens up. You're in Champs, back in, and, we're building over there. So the first year you came in and we put a team into the gloves. I mean, originally, the first couple of years it was Finelli Jr. only. We added to that, when Benny Little came in to coach also. There were more people, obviously, in the gym at that time.
Yes.
And there were guys that were serious about training, so we were able to say, okay, with these guys, we're gonna venture into the Golden Gloves. So your first year is a pretty. You
still remember, right?
I remember the first
crazy.
year. You know what I mean? But it was
that one kid I knocked out. That was a pretty crazy one.
But getting through that, so we had a pretty good team, and it almost happened that you had to fight one of our teammates.
Yeah,
one of your teammates. We weren't sure who that you were going to match up with.
Yeah,
you were with Ronald Velasquez, but unfortunately, we got the MMA fighter.
Yeah, we got the professional that snuck his way in there.
And you advanced to the second round. Great performance in the first round. And we catch an MMA fighter who ended up being a professional athlete. And for people who don't know, you cannot be a professional athlete and fight in an amateur event. We lose a close decision. And,
we thought we won.
Yeah, we thought we won. It was close. And, and Benny was saying it, Benny Little was saying, look, and nobody wanted to hear us about him being a pro.
Yeah.
A week later, we get the call, and it was like, nah, we're not taking it. It's a week later. You guys knew, whatever. But at that point, you're pretty deep into it because going back to that, you're fighting 2 weeks in a row, and you're working at the time still.
Full time, yeah.
You're working full time, coming in at night, 7, 8 o'clock. You're doing your running, you're doing your conditioning during the day, in between when you can, and you're cutting weight.
Cutting weight, yeah.
So you fight at 140, and you got to make weight. So this is for an amateur fight.
Yeah.
So people are like, he's not getting paid.
This is
just an amateur fight.
This is for the love of the game, yeah.
For the love of the game, right? Yeah, we're playing for the love of the game here, right? So we fast forward after that. We come back, we regroup, and you still got the fire in you, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing, right? A lot of people, get discouraged.
A lot of people would find a way out of it. They would mentally put that little, thing in their head where like, oh, they would probably justify that they got cheated and probably went okay with that. But in my way, I was like, no, I felt like I did wrong. And I was super motivated when going in, I believe that was like the 2018 Golden Gloves. I was super motivated, but then when that happened where, I was fighting a professional, it put a fire in me. So it put such a fire in me for the next year.
But your preparation was also, you're in the gym training with everybody.
Yeah.
So, Omar Bordeaux's fighting at that point. Professionally, you're training with him. You're sparring with him. Any sparring that's coming in from him, you're getting sparring. Jeffrey Then, anybody in your weight class pretty much, and some of the bigger guys too, you're sparring with. Right?
Anybody that could go, yeah.
So you're getting work, right?
Yeah.
You're getting work. But after that was the Sizzler.
Yeah.
So now
I forgot about that one.
No. You can't forget about that
one.
one.
You were there, yeah.
You can't forget about that one.
You remember it.
You can't forget about that one. And you know what? Our annual show, Champs Boxing, we just had the 7th Summer Sizzler, which is now, it started in Danbury War Memorial. Now it's at the Ice Arena.
Yeah.
It's a big event.
Big event.
It's one of
It was big before.
Yeah.
And then now that it's at the Ice, it's
big. Yeah. So now it's one of the premier events as an amateur show in the state of Connecticut. We try to match the best fights. AJ, myself, mostly AJ matching some great fights. We bring in a lot of the type fighters from the tri-state area. I mean, this year's expanded out. I mean, I had a team from Ohio reach out to me this year to come in. We've had
wow, the name's getting around. Wow.
We've had gyms in this past year out of New Jersey, New York, upstate New York, Schenectady, Ring of Hope, Jersey down by Newark, a couple of gyms out of New York City.
Wow.
With fighters coming in, Long Island. You know, it's a good tournament. So now you get ready to fight in the Sizzler.
Yeah.
And look, the Sizzler's a big deal. It's our show.
Yeah.
You're the main event.
Yeah.
No pressure, right?
I think I know where you're going.
No pressure, right? Now that was what, the fifth Sizzler?
I think that was
the fifth.
Something like that.
Yeah,
third,
last year.
fourth,
This is
like
the
that.
seventh. No, it was the fifth one. It was the first year in the Ice Arena. The fifth Sizzler.
Okay.
Sizzler number 5.
The one I'm thinking about is still back in the War Memorial.
Yeah.
That's the
that
one.
one. And I'm thinking about the one that you fought in the Ice Arena.
Okay. It's so many fights, man.
Yeah.
They're all fun. I love it all.
The War Memorial Sizzler was the one that you fought before the gloves.
Yes. The 2008, the 2018
okay.
one, yeah.
The one after we lost to the MMA guy was in the Ice Arena.
Yeah.
That was the Sizzler there. So, you know, our tradition is there. We win the main event.
Yeah.
You know that, right? We had no pressure with nobody, right?
Yeah.
We had a rough day that day, and I don't know if you remember me coming over to you and saying, no pressure, Sage, but, you know,
everybody on
AJ's
that,
pacing over there, and he's giving me the eye, and Benny, and, you know, it's like.
I still remember
you know
Benny flipping out in the locker room because for those that didn't know that didn't go that day, we put, I was like, what, 5 guys, something like that from the gym that was fighting that night?
Yeah, we had a couple of guys.
And they all lost. And I was going to be the main event, and you, hey, no pressure, buddy. You got everybody out there. Not a single guy from Danbury won tonight.
No.
And you're the main event.
AJ came over to Benny and me and said, we need a fucking win.
We need a win.
So, you know, it was like, you know, it was.
Benny's punching lockers. He's flipping out. And I'm like, oh, God.
Benny's already pissed off that the guys before him, like, I'm not worried about that, man.
It's funny.
That's all old news right now. But anyway. And, you know, it was a good show. You come out, you do your thing.
Yeah.
You had a tough fight to start, but then you took control of the fight. And it was, you know, and that kind of got the momentum going.
Yeah.
Now you're on a roll.
Now we're on a roll, yeah.
Now you're on a roll. And then, look, obviously, we start getting ready for January Golden Gloves. Take some time off, you do your thing. But, you know, in between, you're really never too far out.
Yeah.
And you're pretty good, like, you know, considering your lifestyle of work.
Yeah.
And, you know, you do have a social aspect to your life. You play other sports, you go out, whatever, you vacation.
Live a little.
But you're able to maintain yourself that when you get into camp, even now, you know how to bring your body down. Like, you might be walking at whatever, 50, 60, you know, and you know how to get back down, and you're right in. Never had an issue on weight with you.
Yeah. It's mostly, it's a lifestyle. It really just is a lifestyle. It's one of those, you know, it's like you were saying earlier with football and all these other sports where you could kind of, you know, get away. Boxing is not forgiving. And if you slack around on your, you know, your everyday habits, it's going to show. Yeah. So I just, you know, might sound corny, but it's kind of living like that lifestyle of like the samurai. You got to be about it. It's not just a sport. It's literally a lifestyle. Yeah. And if you start, you know, eating Cheetos and doing all this other crazy stuff, when it's time to training camp, you know, you're starting from a negative. The idea is that you want to start off and put yourself in the best situation to where you can succeed. Because it's, you know, it's boxing. You're going to be getting hit in the face. So the idea is you want to be able to perform well. And the idea is not to take damage while you're in there.
Yeah, and then you know what? In between fights, the further you get out, the harder it's to get back. The
harder it is, yeah.
You know, and that takes a toll on you and your training. You got to focus on getting in shape more than the training.
Yeah.
So we're ready for January. We put our team in there, and we go the first week. You take a win.
Mm-hmm.
Second week, take a win. We eventually win Western New England.
Yeah.
All right.
Still remember every single one of those fights.
And people don't know. We're talking starting in January. So right after Christmas, we're fighting.
Yeah.
So you know what? It's like, okay,
if you got Christmas,
if you got to make Christmas, if you got to make weight, you better be easy at Christmas.
Oh, it was rough
because
you know what? All that good Dominican food. Oh,
yeah, well, anything, right?
I pissed off a lot of my aunts, telling them I couldn't.
Yeah, right. And then office parties, going out with your friends, hanging out, doing all that. And we're training over the holidays. I don't know if we trained Christmas Day with you. I know one Christmas Day I trained with Omar.
I think it was Christmas Eve.
Maybe it was Christmas Eve. We always train Christmas Eve.
Yeah, it never ends.
Yeah. But, you win Western New England. Now, we're fighting the whole month of January.
Mm-hmm.
Every
weekend.
You win, you keep going.
Yeah.
And you're going back to work. Going back, you got to cut weight every week. You got to stay within. So you're fighting at 40, you go a couple pounds up, come back down. Now, tell me as you're winning the first two, is it starting to click in your head that, hey, I could run the table here?
I felt that going into the second fight, looking around the other guys that were in my division, I said, I got a really good shot of winning this whole thing. But I still remember I think it was the first or second fight where I bruised my rib in the beginning of the tournament.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that. That's right. You were a little bruised up.
Oh man, I didn't notice. During the fight you don't feel it, but afterwards, for some reason I was like, I can't move as well, and I remember just thinking that going into thinking to myself, I was like, wow, this is how we're gonna start off the tournament, and we still got in order to win the whole thing. We got 8-10 fights to go.
But we didn't know once we got deep into Massachusetts who we would see.
Yeah.
We figured Connecticut, we had a good chance of walking through Connecticut.
That's the thing,
I shouldn't say walking through, but we were prepared to win Connecticut.
Yeah.
Once we get deep into Mass, because you go into it's Massachusetts and the rest of New England, which is New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, and Massachusetts, we don't know who we're going to see.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. You don't know, and like you said, it's one of those regional tournaments that you could be fighting. Boston's got a huge boxing scene.
Yeah,
you don't know who's coming from there.
And look, as you go on into that tournament, you're fighting guys that are winning.
They're winning too.
They're winning, and it's what
they could smell they could see the finish line.
You're fighting
just as well.
good.
Yeah.
You're fighting good talent. Okay, you got to be prepared. But you're fighting a week after a week. What people don't realize is, look.
Still maintaining that full schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And having to drive to the fights.
Yeah.
So we're going to Lowell. It's 3 hours away.
Yeah.
You're taking off of work, cutting your weight, going up there, we're fighting. Win, come home. Win, come home. Whatever the case may be. So now we get to the semis. And, it's surreal.
It's starting to,
It's surreal. And your story is, look, not many guys, I think the only other guy out of the gym that fought that many weeks in a row was Finelli Jr. in an amateur tournament.
Mm-hmm.
When he was at National Golden Gloves, he fought 4 or 5 times in a week.
Yeah. That's a tough schedule too. It's rough, but
yeah. But you're fighting, once a week.
It was like 2 months straight.
You're fighting once a week for 2 months.
Yeah. It was crazy.
And still having to go back. We get to the semis.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts at this point?
My thoughts were, I remember going into the semis, my opponent, I forgot his name, but I knew that they came out of the West Point Academy. Yeah. And they're known for, they might not be the most skillful guys, but those guys are coming ready.
Yeah,
they're coming in shape.
Yep.
They're coming in shape. You might think you're in shape, but these guys are...
Yeah, they're relentless.
They're relentless. That's all they're doing is just getting ready to tear you up. And they got a whole facility and a whole place to really, support them.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
look, I had the privilege of going up there, And their boxing gym is, you have to box at the military academy. You don't have to box competitively, but it is a facility in everybody that they have. Coach Ray Barone, Lieutenant Ray Barone, who's retired now, was a great, great coach, and it was always, prior to COVID, always welcomed us up there to train. But my concern was you staying healthy at that point.
Yeah.
I remember talking to Benny. I'm like, look, Benny.
That was a week of ice packs.
I know he's not saying it, but my concern was you staying healthy.
Yeah.
I wasn't really. The West Point fight I felt pretty confident with because I knew if you boxed, all right, you would be okay because the kid wouldn't have the same skill as you.
Yeah.
But he was a tough kid and he was in shape. And if he got, if you didn't control the fight and control the ring, we would have a tough night.
Yeah, I still remember it. And pretty much because I remember just walking into the ring, I'm like, oh, God, I got to put on this poker face. Because if anyone out there has not had a bruised rib,
Yeah, I mean, look,
man,
you're taking,
everything hurts.
You're breathing. You got to breathe. You're lifting your arm. You take a little punch, even if it's not a big punch.
Yeah, that's when I learned a lot about myself. And granted, it was an amateur fight. I know there's people that have had crazy war, but that was one of those days, and I think that every fighter kind of has to go through those moments where they got to learn a little bit more about themselves. And I learned a lot about myself that day that, things get rough. It is what it is. How badly do you want it? And I just remember being able to get that close towards the end of the tournament where you could finally see the finish line. I was just like, you know what?
Yeah, we were close.
We put in too much work. Shut up and let's go. And it was time to fight. And, it went our way. It went,
Yeah, we ended up getting the decision that night. And then, we're obviously we're in the finals.
Yeah.
And the finals, I don't know about you. I think the finals was probably the easiest fight we had.
The easiest fight.
I mean, I remember that. I remember that kid coming across the ring.
I still remember everybody in that tournament was like, "Look out for this kid. Look out for this guy." And I was just like, "All right, well then, that's my guy who I'm gonna face off with. Let's go."
Yeah, look out for him. He was confused in the first round. I said, Benny, he don't realize Cesar southpaw.
Yeah, I still remember. I don't think he landed a single punch. No. And it was funny where I was actually able to hear my brother in the stand saying he's got nothing for you. I still remember hearing that, and I was just like, yeah, I'm going to show you he's got nothing for me.
Yeah, but that was, look, your confidence level was sky high.
Yeah.
You were healthy at that point.
Yeah.
And, that was a big, so, you win, Western New England.
Western New England.
New England, Western New England, and New England. Big.
Yeah, that one qualified us to go to the all New England regional, the all New England Golden Gloves, right? And then,
no, the last one.
Well, I'm saying when we beat the guy in Hartford for the Western New England, that one qualified us. To go to the all New England.
And then you fought right.
Yeah.
So you won. Hartford was Western New England.
Yeah.
Okay, that's our region, and then New England.
New
England was Lowell, where you beat the guy in the finals. So unfortunately after that we have COVID.
Yeah.
Kind of puts and at that point the gym is thriving. If you remember, we got a lot of amateur guys going, a lot of pros starting to catch a little momentum out of the gym. Gym's packed. COVID shuts the world down. Okay. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
How did you maintain through that? Because look, you're not working at that point, barely working. You guys shut down the shop, right? The world is in a fucked up place.
The world's turned upside down. You even go drive anywhere, there's nobody drive. I remember going to New York City in like an hour.
Yeah, it's
down there,
like one of those sci-fi movies.
It was weird.
Nobody's on the road.
Even police officers weren't even pulling people over.
Yeah,
nobody wanted to be around anyone.
Yeah.
So I just, I took advantage, and I was just like, all right, well, if there's nothing else to do, I'm just gonna, run, do some hiking, just take care of me, just stay busy in any way I can.
Right.
Once the gym opened up, it was like a relief of,
Yeah, I think for everybody.
Oh,
everybody.
I just remember the cabin fever kicking in like hard. Just like I just gotta, getting out of this this shitty routine. And,
just eating, watching TV, listening to negativity across the board.
Ugh.
So back into the gym, and, there was the talk of going pro.
Yeah.
And stuff was happening at the time, and maybe there wasn't fits or, whatever. But then, also you become an owner of the barbershop now. You're at a different place, and you have more responsibility, with yourself and your partners over there. Not that you're not training.
Speaking of the barbershop, look at that hoodie, huh?
Yeah, I like that.
Like the hoodie, it fits well?
You know what's even better about this hoodie?
What's that?
Dre signed off on giving me this hoodie.
Shout out to Dre.
I love you, Dre.
Yeah.
I love you, buddy.
Shout out to Pat.
Shout out to Pat, too, and Legends. Guys are great bunch of guys over there by the Danbury Mall. Planet Fitness, if you guys don't know it, one of the best barbershops around in town.
Thank you.
Guys will hook you up over there.
Thank you.
But, did we have another amateur fight after that? No, we didn't fight. Did we? No.
We did have one, but it was like the one back from COVID, but I mean it was just like there was a couple Sizzler fights as well. Won some one didn't go our way, but it was mostly just keeping an eye, us looking to turn pro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, let's talk about that. I mean, did you think it would happen?
I was very hopeful for it. It was one of those, as a little kid, you grow up always, like most kids, they, the dream of being like a professional athlete is, it's something that every kid always wants to do. The idea of it, whether it be playing in the NBA or, base MLB, NFL. Well, oddly for me, it was, being a pro fighter was always, it was always like a dream in a way. And it was kind of surreal in the moment where it was kind of like, oh, wow, it's actually the opportunity's there if we want it. And I remember when it came up, I didn't even think twice. I was like, yeah, let's do it. This is what who am I to say no? Let's go. Put in all this work after all these years, and let's do it.
Yeah, so we get, again, you're back to work, back in camp, around your lifestyle. But now, not to take away from being an amateur, the meaning has a little bit more.
Yeah. It hits a little better. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because now you're preparing.
Carries a little more weight to it.
Carries a little more weight. You obviously want to look good. You want to make your weight, which you did.
Yeah.
And, you had your first fight.
How good did I look? You tell me. Looking from some...
My barber can box. Yeah. How about that one? My barber can box, all right? Hear that, Dre? My barber can box.
Shout out to all the...
Shout out to all the barbers. Shout out to all the Danbury barbers. I got the barber. He's 1-0 as a pro. Anybody want to take that away from him, come down to Champs, text me, email me, find me on social media. We'll make it happen.
This sounds like back in high school.
You know what I mean? So any of them barbers talking shit in Danbury think that they could beat my barber, come on down.
This is funny.
All right? But anyway, no, you know what? You look good as far as, look, anxiety. Mm-hmm. The lack of, there's a difference of, fighting from amateur to pro level and the level of relaxing in the ring. Mm-hmm. And the first pro fight for everybody, you'll talk to many people, they have anxiety no matter what. They'll go back to their pro fight, some people, whatever. You had a great pro fight. I mean, look, you knocked the guy down in the first round.
Yeah.
You fought a 4-round fight. You dominated the fight. So, you have nothing to say, but if I was to say it again, you could have finished the guy in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
A little more experience, maybe, in the sense of maybe if you had a couple more fights under your belt.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes the other aspect of it is guys feel they want to get rounds. They want to get a couple of rounds.
Yeah.
I'm here. Let me get another round. I want to get another round.
Yeah.
I want to get another round. And your guy was durable, and look,
he was tough. He knew how to survive.
You hit him with some big shots. You didn't take any shots.
Yeah.
You controlled the fight from 1 to 4.
Yeah.
But, look, the journey to the fight.
Oof. That was fun.
The journey to the fight, we fly to, where did we fly to? Medellin or Barranquilla?
We flew into Barranquilla, and then from Barranquilla to Santa Marta.
but you had to finish cutting weight there.
Oh, that was fun.
You know, and
That was fun.
Yeah, we were cutting weight at night in the street, jumping rope over there, to just break the little bit of. I think we were about a pound or two over. You weren't far off.
Yeah. It was that was a funny day because I mean, I've told the stories of people that know me before, you know, about that experience, but you know, we were in, you know, let's just say we weren't in we weren't in a tourist area. We were in, you know,
we weren't fighting. We weren't fighting. We weren't fighting in the MGM, bro.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
there were kids that were, you know, they didn't have shoes just watching us.
Yeah,
you know, we definitely stood
we were
out.
fighting in a tough spot.
Oh yeah,
against some durable fighters. So you know, it wasn't. There was no cush locker rooms.
I still remember you checking to see if you had your, you know, where your phone was. We were, you know, it wasn't. It was a gritty place. You
our
know?
gear,
was,
man, our
was,
gear.
Yeah.
You know, you had kids over there. You know, not very. You know, not a lot of things. You know, and you see it. I mean, we definitely stood out. Giving a kid or giving somebody gloves or tape or a pair of shoes.
Yeah.
You know, here people would frown like.
Mm-hmm.
There was like you gave, but you know what? We did what we did, and you know, not a lot of people could say that. So now you're 1-0 on BoxRec. You know, and here's the thing, right? No matter what, and I tell people this: no matter what, whether you fight 30 fights or one fight, you have one pro fight. You sit back 20 years from now and tell your kids,
"Yeah,
I had a pro fight." What do you mean? Yeah, tap in BoxRec. There it is. César Collado, ID number.
It's official.
The date that he fought, who he fought, and everything else. It's right there. Nobody takes it away from you.
That's true.
You know, I mean, that's, and you know, we can't go play pro basketball as much as we want. If you're not picked, can't go play baseball or football.
Yeah,
you know. You did your thing to get a win as a professional.
Yeah.
You know, in a sport it's not an easy sport.
No.
It's not.
It's not. That was the one thing that I remember, like, you know, like you were saying, the preparation going into it. The one thing that I remember that stands out the most, the fight went very well. I felt, you know, I performed very well. Dropped a guy with a mean left hand that, you know, I was surprised he got up from it, you know.
Yeah.
But luckily, you know, everything went our way. It went better than, you know, we trained hard for it, and it went better than we could prepare for.
Yeah, you followed the plan. You did what you had to do.
That's one thing that I remember that stood out the most is when we got there and they announced our name when we're walking into the ring. That was my first time ever being booed. And that was my first time. And we're out of the country. I don't know what street we're on. I don't know how to get back to the hotel we were staying at. And I just remember walking in there and just being booed. And I was like, wow, we're in someone else's backyard. And we get to leave here and we get back to, you know, back home. This guy, he lives here. He's, you know, he's hungrier, way hungrier than I'll ever be, you know. And it was just, I just remember just all that clicking in while walking into the ring. But luckily, you know, referee comes, all right, center of the ring, touch gloves, and, you know, I just did my thing. It was just what I'm used to is just when the bell rings, it's fight time, and, you know, everything else kind of gets pushed aside, and it's either him or me, and, I didn't train to lose.
No, we didn't train to lose. We didn't go that far to lose.
I didn't go that far to lose.
You were prepared.
Yeah.
So what do you think you're looking for next? Is this it?
No, not at all. Not with the lifestyle that I live, this is not. No, this is, you know, temporarily, you know, for those that, you know, have been anticipating me getting back in the ring, trust me, no one's more excited to get or eager to get into the ring as I am, but I recently just bought a home, doing a lot of homeowner stuff, so I had to, you know, kind of fix, you know.
Training takes a bad life comes. See, this is the thing with boxing, right?
Yeah.
Okay? 1%ers. The guys you see on pay-per-view who are making the big money are the 1%ers.
Yeah.
They don't have jobs.
Their job is
boxing.
You know, they get taken care of, and I don't blame them. But if anybody do it, you know, I would do it too. But
of course, God bless them. But you know what? For the love of the game, we're working jobs.
Yeah.
You know, we're training fighters. We're training for fights. We're training to get ready. when the opportunity comes.
Yeah.
The money is not life-changing money.
No.
You know what I mean? It's not,
We're grateful, but hey.
You know what? It's yeah, of course. Of course we're grateful, that you could still, but people don't realize that what it takes to, and I've said this many, many times with many, many guests, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but
No,
the
more we talk about it, the more motivated I get.
The real people, look, and I kid around with Dre, and I love him over there. But you know what? The guys in the barbershop, they're your buddies and they're your friends.
Yeah.
But they don't realize what it takes to get ready for a fight.
No, and nor should they, because this is, like you said, is the 1% of human beings. And this isn't something
And it's not just them; it's everybody.
Yeah.
Because people say, that's not a lot of money for 10 weeks of training. No, you're probably right. It's not a lot of money.
It's not.
Okay, but there's no way around. There's no way of shortcutting the process. Okay,
Yeah.
So what are you saying? I'm going to fight for X amount of money. So you know what? I'm only going to fight. I'm only going to train 5 weeks. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
It's going to show in the fight.
It's going to show. You might be training 5 weeks because you're looking at, what do you get out of it? Meanwhile, you're going in there with a guy who doesn't care how much you're going to get paid. He might have paid money just to fight. Good luck, And at the end of the day, who would you rather be? The guy who's over-prepared or the guy who thinks he prepared well enough? Good luck.
Boxing is preparation.
Yeah.
No matter what. You cannot shortcut the process, okay?
Yeah.
There are certain things being done in boxing, okay? What has changed in the game of boxing today is guys have become more athletic.
It's true.
Guys have become bigger, faster, stronger.
Yeah.
Okay?
At younger ages, too.
But the basic of boxing is the same, okay? If you were to take your son or daughter tomorrow, if you have children, and you bring them in, the fundamentals of boxing that you teach them are going to be the same tomorrow as they were 20 years ago, as they will be from 20 years from now.
Yep.
You have to stand a certain way. You have to punch a certain way.
Yep.
You have to do certain things.
Yep.
The main thing with boxing is no matter what, if you can't punch, if you can punch, you need to be in shape.
Yeah, it's true.
So you can have all the skill in the world. If you're not in shape.
No, once you're tired, it doesn't matter what you have. If you can't lift your arms up, if you can't throw that punch,
you're going to get exploited.
Now the tables turn. And I'd rather be the guy that can go, if he's got to throw 300 punches around, 400 punches around.
This is what we talked about.
You got to be ready for.
We talked about with you.
Yeah.
Right? And we had to be careful. So, trainers, right? You're going to work every day.
Yeah.
There were days, okay, you're coming in fresh, you're not fresh, whatever, life, right? So now as trainers, we want to push you. We want to push you to the limit, right? To get the best out of you. But there are days now that we have to say, man, we got a long road. Okay? Can't kill them today.
Yeah.
We got to pick and choose when we can push on you, when we can't.
Because now
you're working and we're sparring. So, look, for your pro fight, that 4-round fight, which people say 4-round fight, 4-12, I could do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Just for an example.
There's been a couple times I tell people, hey.
Just for an example.
This is the address of the gym.
We sparred over 40 rounds for that fight.
Yeah.
For 4 rounds.
Yeah.
And that was light.
Yeah.
That was light.
Yep.
So think about that. Think about these guys, people going to work and then having to come and look, and I'm not trying to disrespect anybody or anything else, but you know what? Take your hat off to fighters. Take your hat off to guys that you think maybe you calling them a bum.
Yeah.
Or you're calling them that. That man's stepping in his ring.
Yeah.
At any level, he's putting his life on the line.
Yeah.
Putting his life on the line.
It's like you're saying, anyone can talk.
Yeah.
Anyone can talk. It's all fun and games until, okay, let's see.
And our theory comes down to this, is no matter what, as trainers, and you know this from working with us, right? You're going to be ready.
Yeah.
Physically, you're going to be ready, okay? So you're not, is that Dre calling in? I didn't know we were having call-ins.
He misses me. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have had a call-in and get him on the air here, But now you guys are going to be ready.
Yeah.
You know, I can't. You know, and Benny too. Benny's the same way. You know, like, we can't put our heads on taking somebody to a fight and they're not physically or mentally ready.
Yeah.
I'm not having that on my head, nor is Benny going to have that
That's
on his head.
That's one of the beautiful things about our gym is we have guys, especially with amongst the trainers, you, Benny specifically, senior, Finelli senior, they've been around the sport.
Yeah.
Benny, former world champion, senior contender, you've been around them for a long time. You guys know what it takes and what it takes to perform well. And you guys have that experience. So it's like, it almost behooves you to listen to guys that know what they're talking about.
Well, you know what? It comes down to a team effort of everybody, like you said, because you know what? The fighter's the fighter.
Yeah.
That's the guy, right?
That's
Here's
true.
the fighter.
Yeah.
Got to take care of the fighter. Everything builds around the fighter. It doesn't build about us.
Mm-hmm.
Our job is to get the fighter ready.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, right, we say it all the time. One of my favorite sayings. We win fights we're supposed to lose. We lose fights we're supposed to win.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But at the end of the day, if we take a loss and you're prepared, that's boxing. That's any sport. If you're prepared and we take a loss, okay, so be it. Take my hat off to the other team.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time. But if we take a loss because we're not prepared, that's our fault.
Yeah.
That's our fault.
Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow.
Not only as a team. When I say the team, that means the fighter and the team. So you got to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'd rather, do more and make sure that we're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that we're ready.
Yeah.
And going into a fight like that.
It's funny, 'cause it's perfect that you mentioned that because a lot of people always ask me that don't know about, they're probably new to the sport, they don't know too much. So, I'm a very personable person. I'm not, I work amongst the public, so I'm always talking to people.
Yeah, you're a
stuff.
people guy.
I guess so. I've been told I have the face for radio, but I switched. But people always ask me, "Oh, you never get scared? You never get worried about this, that?" To be honest, my biggest fear, and I learned this early on, my biggest fear is getting tired when you're in a fight. Because once you're tired, it's like we said before, it doesn't matter how good your left hand is, your right hand is, you're this. If you're tired, now you just set yourself up for a very, very long night.
Once you're tired, it's like the car breaking down.
Yeah.
Okay? The brakes go.
Yeah, good luck driving that car with no gas.
The steering wheel starts to go.
Yeah.
The wipers don't start to work. Now, you're tired. The jab is not working.
Yeah.
Right? The legs are not working.
Yeah.
You're taking shots. Your defense is not working.
Yeah, I learned that early.
It's all, and you know what? Again, not to short the process. You need to go through the process of getting in shape throughout the camp, not getting in shape as the camp goes through.
Yeah.
So look, the beginning of camp is always hard, especially for guys who got to cut weight.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you're in a little shape, right? And as you go through the camp, you're building. Okay, we're building, we're getting better. Our endurance is getting better. Our mental's getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're not sparring 8 rounds the first day of camp. The first week we might spar 3 or 4 rounds.
Yeah.
Depending, just to get our feet wet, to see where our fighter's at, conditioning-wise. But you're right. Once if you're not there as you get close to the fight physically and condition, you're not going to find it fight night.
Yeah, it ain't. Yeah.
It's not going to be lightning that just hits you and says, "Oh, you're in shape now."
Yeah. Some guys think that, but it all gets exposed.
No, every day you cheat yourself, you're going to cheat. You don't run, you cheat yourself.
Yep.
You don't do your workouts, cheat yourself. You're eating the wrong stuff, cheating yourself. You're not hurting anybody else.
Not looking into, I'm pretty sure that's why I kind of gravitated more out of all the sports that I enjoyed doing. Boxing is probably the one that I gravitated towards most because it's one of those that it's on you. No matter what, like, granted, I like playing basketball, baseball, all the other sports, but those are team sports. So you could have a great game, but it's a team sport and everything is affected on how well that team performs together. Right. So if you're doing well, but you got a guy who's, he's pretty much, you got to carry his weight. You know, these are things that, you know, that affect the outcome of the game, whether you win or lose. What I like about boxing is no matter what, it's on you. How well you're going to perform is as well as the preparation you put into it. And if you put in a shitty, preparation, you only have yourself to blame. It doesn't matter how well your coaches, the advice they gave you. Doesn't matter how well, how comfortable you feel in this event. It's at the end of the day, it's on you. And that's one thing I kind of always liked is that it's as good as much of a work as that I'm going to put into it.
Yeah. So, people who are motivated, people who are self-starters, that's it.
Yeah.
But you know what? There are guys out there that they're not. There are guys out there that make excuses.
Mm-hmm.
There are guys out there that, blame their teams for losses.
Yeah.
When it's basically, look, I'll take responsibility as a coach if I fuck up something, if I give you less of me than what you deserve, if I make a bad call in a fight, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm not going to take responsibility for somebody who doesn't prepare himself and put into the tank either.
Yeah.
I'm here. Coaches are here, right?
Yeah.
We're here to help you. We're here to get you ready. You got to want to buy into the system.
You got to want it. You have to want it.
If you're not buying into the system, it don't matter what we do.
Yeah.
We've seen that with other athletes. Great athletes go to different teams, basketball players, baseball players. If they don't buy into the system,
it's going to show. The results are there.
You know what I mean? There are guys out there. We can name names across the board. Not going to do that. But, we've seen it. We've seen
Don't tempt me.
We've seen great basketball players go to different teams, and they don't blend.
It's true. Yeah.
We say, oh, look, we got this guy coming in. Yeah, it's going to make a difference in the team. And then, poof, the season's over. What happened?
I mean, to name one guy, this might be a little bit older, for depending on the general, who's listening. But, famous basketball player, Manu Ginobili. There were, it's known that there were guys on the teams that were more talented, more, had better attributes to, individual things. But the guy he bought into the system. He bought into that Popovich system, and he became the guy that we know today as the winner.
Yeah.
But it was just selflessness, willing to give himself, do whatever needed to be done that the team needed.
You got to stay in your lane. You got to know what you do that you bring to the table. And that goes not only...
Yeah, some guys can do it, some guys can't.
That goes with coaching, you know what I mean? Like coaching, we stay in our lane. Like, Benny and I have a different style of coaching, but at the end of the day, when we coach a fighter, we coach him together.
Yeah.
He's strong in some areas that I'm not. I'm strong in some areas that maybe he's not. We make it work. It's not about ego. I'm not worried about... Oh, it's my idea. I don't give a shit, man. Just give me the W.
And it's felt on the fighters' end where you guys want whatever it is the idea is you guys want us to win. You guys want us to get the most out of this experience as we can, and win, lose or draw. You guys put us in that position.
Well, it's got to go back. It's got to go back. The fighter's got to feel. Look, if the fighter feels confident,
Oh, right? Man, it's a big deal. Yeah.
If the fighter's questioning what's going on in the corner, and we've all seen that in fights.
Yeah.
We've watched fights on TV, there's confusion. Go to the Mike Tyson Buster Douglas. He didn't have his right corner.
Oh, man, yeah. Looking around. He's looking around. What do I...
And I don't know if a lot of people realize that. There was no ice in that corner.
Yep.
Okay, there was barely water in that corner. And if you watch in the fight, they filled a rubber glove with water, and they were putting it on Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
So,
lukewarm water on a swollen eye. What's that going to do?
Yeah, and he was fatiguing in the fight. No ice on the back of the neck.
Yeah.
Barely enough water to go through the fight, whatever. But
fighting a guy who, sure, on paper, who was this guy? Not a big deal, but fought a guy who just was like, I don't care what this guy has.
But you're talking about
win.
Buster Douglas lost his grandmother.
Yeah.
Was the role model in his life.
Yeah.
What's his motivation? Let's look at Usyk.
Yeah.
Usyk's fighting for a country. I told somebody this, you know what? That man's fighting for a country. What the heck do you think he's going to do in the boxing ring? What's going on in his world?
Yeah. He's got too many people that
there's
are going to...
There's motivation for this guy to be successful.
There's too many questions that he's going to have to answer to. He's like, there's no way I'm going out of this.
I got to worry about a guy like that.
Yeah. That's what I've said when we went to Colombia. The guy I'm facing, he's got nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. Good luck trying to fight some guy who's got nothing to lose.
That's the thing. That's the attitude I love as a fighter.
Yeah.
coming in as an underdog, right? Coming in as an underdog, you got nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. I got everything. Nothing to lose. Everything to gain.
What? Say you lose the fight, but you fight a great fight. Nobody expected you to fight that fight. If you win the fight, wow, it's life-changing, right? So, you got to fight within that demons in your head to say, I'm going to fight through this shit.
Yeah.
But what do you think is, what are we looking at time frame?
As in what?
Not for my next haircut. I'm talking about.
You got to go through get you an appointment now.
Yeah, well,
you're saying as
fight wise,
time? Yeah. I mean, if we could get one before the year's over, I'd be, super happy. But once I get this plumbing job done that I got to get done in my house,
you're gonna be a friggin' general contractor. You might own a construction company.
I've been on YouTube so much. How many how-to videos? Thank God for YouTube.
Yeah.
And I mean, that helps knowing people too. One of those things where it's like, being a barber, you're in a industry where you get to know. Yeah,
you got a lot of different people coming in over there.
It's good to know a lot of people that could come help you out.
Yeah.
That helps.
Well, you know what? It's exciting to hear. And that you want to get back in the ring. But your journey, like, what?
The more we talk about it, the more motivated
your story is
I get.
like, look.
It just fires me up.
Part of your story is, look, not only do I know you and I've seen you go through it all, but here's a story for people right there.
Yeah.
Go for what you want to go for.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? If there's something you want to do out there.
What's stopping you?
Yeah, what's stopping you?
What's stopping you?
Well, you got to work. You're tired. Get up.
That's cool.
We've been there.
Well, everybody has to do it.
We've all been there. Okay, we all work. But, your story is a unique story because, not that you don't live the life of a boxer. You do when you're fighting and you do when you're training. But you have outside influences in your life, work, family, this and that. You're not – boxing is not your full-time gig right now. It's not putting food on your table. So for you to do in the last 2 years – that says a lot. Yeah. And there's not only you, there's stories of other fighters out there. We all know it. We've seen fighters, good fighters, they stop, they start, they come back, they did whatever the case may be, they overcome situations. But there's a lot of stories like yours out there, and it's an impressive thing. But to watch you from a young man to where you are today, and to get that pro win, that's always going to be with you. It's really, and to work with you is a privilege because, look, you are a worker, and you got a good boxing IQ. You come in and you do the job. You're more professional. Even as an amateur, you were treated more as a professional than an amateur because of the way you carry yourself. And look, I wish you a lot of luck. But tell everybody where we could find you, social media.
Hold that hoodie up. That's where you could find me.
Right here,
Legends Barber Co.
All right.
You could find me at Legends Barber Co. You can find me on Instagram at Cesar C23, Cesar C23. And you could also find me at Champs. That's, it's my second home.
Yeah,
Champs
Tuesday and
Boxing.
Thursday nights. Any of you barbers want to come down, hit me up. We're ready. Get a little sparring in. Maybe we have to make a match with a local guy out there. Maybe there's another César Collado out there sitting in the woods that want to take your thunder for a minute. You know what I mean?
I'm glad we bring this up because going back to the saying like what keeps you motivated, all that stuff. I don't know if you remember this UFC fighter. He had a big name when I was like in my younger years. BJ Penn. If you ever look at his his family history, he comes from a very affluent family in Hawaii.
Yeah.
But the guy just liked fighting.
Yeah.
He loved to fight. He had no reason to want to. He had every reason to not have to fight. But I'm a firm believer in
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul
don't have to fight, bro.
Doesn't have to fight.
We talk about this all the time.
There's people that it's just in them. They, no matter what you do, no matter what it's,
that's the credit you got to give people because, look, if you don't know and you want to know, come to Champs and watch it. Watch the training. Watch these guys work. Watch them when no one's looking.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's where it's said. Couple shout-outs. My guys at Legends, Pat, Dre, everybody over there. A lot of love for you guys. Shout out
Thank you.
to you. My guys at Nirvana Water, we always appreciate you, Goo.
Nirvana's good stuff. That helped out, yeah.
My water's better than your water. Okay. My barber can fight. Okay. He can box. He's 1-0.
Soon to be 2-0. Coming soon.
If you guys got questions or anything, ideas for the show, my email is coachdave@champsboxing@gmail.com. Coach Dave, champsboxing@gmail.com.
My coach is flyer than your coach.
Love you, baby.
Thank you. Love you too.
We'll
Thanks.
catch you at the next Coach's Corner. I'm Coach Dave. Welcome back to Coach's Corner.
Come on.